It's the dead of night. The moon hangs low in the sky, casting a cold, pale light over the deserted train station. A single figure, Lucy, stands alone on the platform, clutching her bag. The only sound is the occasional hum of electricity from the overhead lights. Lucy, they told me never to take the midnight train. But tonight, I didn't have a choice. She looks down at her phone. The screen reads 12:01 a.m. The train approaches from the distance, its headlights dim and flickering like dying embers. The air grows still. The train screeches to a stop with an unsettling metallic groan. The doors open slowly, almost unwillingly. Lucy hesitates for a moment, staring into the pitch-black interior. Lucy, it's just a train, people take it all the time, right? She steps aboard, the doors slamming shut behind her with a force that echoes through the empty station. Inside, the train feels wrong. It's dimly lit, like the bulbs are on the verge of burning out. The seats are old and worn, with deep claw marks along the sides. There's an unnatural chill in the air. Lucy looks around and realizes she's the only passenger. Lucy whispers, "Where is everyone?" The train jolts forward and she stumbles slightly before catching herself on a seat. Her eyes scan the length of the car again. There's something unsettling about the emptiness, the strange quiet. Time seems to stretch. Lucy sits nervously in a corner staring out the window. The city passes by in flashes, but the landscape quickly changes to something else. Endless black fields and distant twisted trees. The train feels like it's speeding faster than it should. Suddenly the train jerks violently, almost throwing Lucy from her seat. She grabs onto the armrest, heart racing. Lucy, what was that? She looks up and there, sitting 2 rows ahead of her, is a man. He wasn't there before. His back is to her, his posture unnaturally rigid. Lucy, nervously. "Excuse me? Do you know how long until we get to—" The man's head twitches slightly, but he doesn't turn around. Lucy leans forward, trying to get a better look. "Lucy, hello? Are you okay?" Suddenly the man rises from his seat, still facing away from her, and walks slowly toward the door that leads to the next car. His movements are stiff, almost robotic. Without a word, he exits. The silence returns, but it's heavier now, oppressive. Lucy stands up, feeling a growing sense of unease. She moves toward the door the man walked through, her footsteps echoing ominously. As she reaches for the handle, a faint whisper echoes from behind her. Whispered voice, "Don't!" Lucy freezes, spinning around. There's no one there, just empty seats and flickering lights. Lucy, breathing shakily. What the hell is going on? She opens the door and steps into the next car. This car is much darker, the lights are dimmer, flickering more erratically. As Lucy walks down the aisle, she notices strange things. Discarded shoes, a single glove, a broken watch. Objects that feel out of place, as if left in a hurry. Then she hears it again. The whisper, closer this time. Whispered voice, "Lucy." Her blood runs cold. She didn't imagine it. Someone or something knows her name. She quickens her pace, glancing over her shoulder as the lights flicker faster. The shadows seem to move, stretching toward her. Suddenly, she sees a figure at the far end of the car, standing perfectly still. It's the man from before, but now, his head is twisted completely around, facing her, eyes wide and unnaturally dark. Lucy, "Oh God!" The train lurches violently, and the lights go out completely. The lights flicker back on, but now Lucy is in a different car, one she doesn't recognize. It's older, much older, with wooden benches and rusted metal fixtures. She stumbles back, disoriented. There are other passengers now, but something's wrong with them. They sit in silence, heads hanging low, faces obscured by shadow. Their clothes are old-fashioned, torn and dirty. No one moves. Lucy stares in horror, her breathing ragged. She whispers, "This isn't real. This can't be real." She rushes toward the door at the far end of the car, but as she reaches for it, one of the passengers suddenly lifts their head, revealing a gaunt, pale face with hollow eyes. It speaks in a raspy whisper, "You shouldn't have boarded this train!" The other passengers slowly begin to raise their heads, their dead eyes locking onto Lucy. She backs away in terror, her heart pounding in her chest. Lucy pushes open the door and stumbles out onto a narrow platform between cars. She gasps for air, looking around frantically. The wind howls as the train races through a barren, fog-covered landscape. Suddenly, the man from before appears at the far end of the platform, blocking her path. His head is still twisted unnaturally, a grotesque grin spreading across his face. He rasps, "You can't leave. You're part of the journey now." Lucy screams and tries to push past him, but the ground beneath her shakes violently. The train is going faster now, the tracks groaning under the strain. She looks over the edge of the platform, and below, there's nothing. Just a dark, bottomless void. The door slams shut behind her as she re-enters the train, but this car is different. It's filled with mirrors, floor to ceiling, reflecting her terrified face from every angle. Lucy stares at her distorted reflection, feeling her grip on reality slipping. From the mirrors, the passengers' faces appear, twisted in unnatural shapes, whispering her name over and over. Lucy, Lucy, Lucy! She covers her ears, screaming, but the voices grow louder. The train suddenly screeches to a halt, throwing Lucy to the floor. She scrambles to her feet, rushing toward the exit door. She bursts through, expecting to find the platform. Instead, she finds herself back in her apartment, standing in her living room. Everything seems normal. The clock on the wall reads 12:02 a.m. Lucy gasps for breath, her heart still pounding. She laughs nervously, relieved it's over. She whispers to herself, it was just a dream, just a nightmare. But then she hears it. A faint train whistle in the distance. She freezes. Her phone buzzes on the table. She picks it up and looks at the screen. The message reads, "Your stop is next."